Hey, what up? This is UnCommon Sense Show. I'm gonna crack on a little bit of music. We'll send this call out right quick. Baby girl was straight this Chanel, said she loved Tupac, but hates him now. Soon had to get this told she could take a piss, turn him into a kid. I was looking at it, but he don't live with all his emotions flowing inside the club. Keep it quick. Smoke, make you click, feel it in their throat. No joke, all these love letters they wrote out behind every player is a true player. Bounce you up out of there, push and check, taste the choice. Have a nice and moist. Paper games and flows to those ones. Something like a phenomenon. Something like a phenomenon. Something like a phenomenon. Something like a phenomenon. In the seduction, consumption. Now she would have kept that work construction. Started with the paper, views of mine. Just a new off top, lap dance, stop to stop. You play out your chick cause your game is hot. I did it too, Italian ice, my whole crew. He's banging on my chest till it's black and blue. Yelling on the cell of my six, you reach it. Then I heard the chorus click. Now you club hopping, keep the crystal popping. Use my chips and take the next man shopping. Hell no. Out your knees and elbows each and every time. That's why I love you, mommy. You run your mouth, throw your legs over the bed, baby. Work me out. Like a phenomenon, something like a phenomenon, something like a phenomenon, something like a phenomenon. Alicia, what's good with you?
Hey, what's good?
What's going on? How you be?
Man, slow motion. What's going on with you?
I can't call it. You know, same old thing. I'm tired today, but I'll be all right.
Okay, no, y'all ain't talking what the topic was.
On the topic, we talking about your girl, Auntie Lori.
Well, Auntie Lori, you know I don't live in Chicago. What Auntie Lori done did?
I'm gonna show you the video.
She done cut up bad.
She stay cutting up though. You know, she got a little flip mouth. You know, and she said some shit to me that was like, I don't know, but she put it out there. So I'm gonna put the video up here. I put I took and recorded it with my phone, and I put it in a group like the day that it happened.
You know what? I didn't realize that my alerts were off.
Okay.
So I just happened to, and I'm not even, you know how it usually shows up on your phone that you got somebody and send something in Messenger. I just realized I missed a whole bunch of conversations y'all didn't have.
Well, you can catch up, you know.
Man, first of all, that's a lot of stuff to go through because I realized that I ain't been on there in days, and I'm like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, it's some of everything. I try to keep up with it. I play backtrack, like when I got a minute to go back in there. But, you know, it's a lot of content in there, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, well,
but
I guess I should have did that earlier since I wasn't doing nothing else but sitting on the couch watching TV.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you know, whenever you got a minute, I mean, you know, it's there. You know, but I did put the link out, so I wanted to talk about her tonight because this shit that she said, well, to me, I don't know.
What Auntie Lori did? What she
She always got some flip mouth shit to say. Like,
well, but I enjoy her flip mouth shit. Now I ain't gonna even lie.
All right, cool. We gonna pull that video up once we get some more people up in here, and I know they coming.
Okay.
I know Eb said she's sick. You saw that.
Yeah.
But we're going to get the people up in here and we're going to go with that one. Because this one here, she always got some shit to say that's inappropriate. At least that's what I think.
Is she inappropriate?
That's what I think.
Well, she ain't no more. I don't know. You know what? I think I'm more sensitive with her because Daily walked around doing all kind of shit and nobody said nothing about the shit that he was, you know, from his hair to his, like, he always looked like he had been partying the night before. He just never looked quite right. Like, and nobody ever said shit about him. But every time you know, they talk about Auntie Lori's hair, her outfit. You know, you look at Daily, like you look at Daly's old interviews with Daly, like he always looked like a hot, funky mess. Suits were always off, but nobody talk about her. They always talk about Auntie Lori. So and maybe for me, not saying that she's wrong. I mean, not saying that she's right, but like I'm like really sensitive because you know they watch Daly do all kind of bullshit. Nobody said nothing, and he stopped running for mayor right when he should have been locked up. Like Blago got locked up. Why Daly ain't gone nowhere?
You're right. He knew what to do.
Right, but nobody says nothing about like it's like common knowledge what he was doing, but he didn't get nearly as much shit as she gets from her attire to the stuff that she does.
Why do you think she's so heavily scrutinized and he wasn't?
First of all, because she's black, but she's a black woman and she's a black gay woman. And she's unapologetic about a lot of stuff that she does not like. Some of her politics I definitely don't like, but I don't think that. I think that if that was Mayor Daley doing it, he wouldn't have got nearly as much criticism as she does.
I don't know, this last statement that she made, he might have caught some flack for this one.
Well, I can't speak on that because I don't know, so I'm gonna have to wait till you show me what it is, and I'm trying not to Google it.
No, I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna share the video.
But you know, it's like killing me that I don't know, so I'm trying to wait patiently.
I thought for sure you would have knew because you cool with.
I'm usually on top of it, but I've been off my game for the last couple of maybe few days, maybe week.
It's all right. It happens. I mean, we all get there at some point in time. I mean, life catches up, you know. But this one here, I ain't gonna lie. When I saw it, I said, "Hold the hell up!" I pulled my camera out, my camera phone out. I said, "I gotta take this one," and I took it and shared it in the group. And then Will was like, "Oh, what's the topic?" I said, "Man, we're gonna talk about Auntie Lori, this and that, the statements that she made." And so,
when did she make the statement?
You said when?
Uh-huh.
This was about a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago. This was last week. She said this dumb shit. And the crazy part is, what I don't get is ain't nobody came out and said nothing. There ain't been no outcry from nobody. I ain't seen no post about it. I ain't seen shit. I'm like, I don't get it. So I guess she just get a pass. Cause she black.
Well, around last week when they were out for whatever holiday that was.
That was
President's Day. Was it President's Day?
Yeah.
Is it the comment that she has the biggest dick in Chicago?
There you go.
Okay, so let me listen to
it. Google it anyway.
I'm gonna read it because I want to know what context, because I'll play devil advocate. So I'm gonna read what context she said it in before I'm outraged by Auntie Lori. Because usually Auntie Lori, when she cussing, it's some, it's something to it.
Okay. I'm gonna still put the video up there too.
Yeah, please put it up there. I'm okay. Okay, Auntie Lori, I see you.
How you gonna say I see you?
Cause I'm reading.
Oh.
I'm reading. I see you, Auntie Lori.
I can't vouch for that shit at all. That shit.
I'm looking at the context of it. I'm just gonna look at the I'm gonna look at the context before I say Auntie Lori bogus.
Okay. I'm gonna have me some whiskey.
Yeah, well, per usual. Per your use.
It's Tuesday night. It's show night. I got to have some.
That's what I'm saying. That's usual for you on Tuesday.
True indeed. I got to have.
Sometimes you show up already a little tipsy. I mean, 8:30, you already almost there.
Yeah.
By 10 o'clock, you lean back and you feeling real warm.
Yeah. I ain't ashamed of it.
It's all love, ain't no judgment. I'm just saying, sometimes you just come as you are in real talk.
That's how I want it to be. That's the whole thing with the show, is that's what it is. You just come through. But yeah, go and check it out. Matter of fact, while you doing that, I'm gonna pull I ain't gonna post it yet, but I'm gonna pull the article up. That way I have it ready to go. Cause this some shit. I don't know how you feel. Well, you'll tell me in a minute. Yeah, this one here, she be out of pocket.
No, nah. I don't think she's wrong.
Serious.
It was vulgar, but I understand her point.
Oh boy.
I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate, and did you read what exactly happened and what they were arguing about?
It was about the Columbus statue. They wanted it up for 20 minutes. She got a fucking attitude about it.
Absolutely, she should have.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You don't think she should have?
No, I think that's so petty. It's like, okay, we know what Columbus represents. We know that part already. Ain't nothing new. I don't agree with them taking down any statues at all, because that's taking history away.
No, that's not history, though. It's not. Columbus didn't discover shit. And so it's a lie. It's a lie. And when you talk about some of the statues that have been taken down, like, you don't put statues up, like, especially like you can put them in certain places, but government and federal buildings where you have monuments to people that have like killed, pillaged, raped, like they should absolutely be taken down. Those things should be left for private institutions, because I pay taxes, so I shouldn't have to look at people who have enslaved my people or harmed or maimed or just were like shitty people, and we all know it. Christopher Columbus didn't discover anything, and he's a piece of shit. Like, they literally killed off a bunch of fucking people. But I mean, what I see in it is, it may seem petty, but I think you have to look at it from the perspective of, if she was a white man, if that was Mayor Daley, would they have pulled that shit? Because it was already down. So if that was Mayor Daley, if that was Rahm, would they have done that? And I don't think that they would have even attempted to test her. But because she's a Black woman, and again, you have to remember that the things that they say about Lori, like, even with the jokes, like, there are certain, like, it should be funny when you see her in the, on the beach with a hat banged, and she a mole and all that, it's funny. But they've not done that for any other mayor. Like, they don't talk about they've never talked about any other mayor the way they talk about her, and they pull shit the way that they pull it. And so from what I'm reading, like, she basically told them that they're making side deals behind her back after she's in charge. Like, no matter what they say, she's in charge. So she said what they essentially did was go behind her back, and now they're making these deals with the Italians because they want it up. And she's like, at the end of the day, I got the biggest dick. I'm fucking in charge. And it may have been an inappropriate way to say it. It was inappropriate. It was unprofessional. But I get it. Because nobody, if that was a white man in her position, that wouldn't even been a conversation to be had. Once it was pulled down, and if she said no as the mayor, no would have been no. You would have had side deals and been trying to make her or circumvent her to do what the fuck you want to do. It just wouldn't have happened. I don't believe it would have happened.
So you think basically, if the mayor was white, that it wouldn't even been an issue, but they just
I think if it was a white man, they wouldn't have. If they had asked about it and no was said, they wouldn't have had, because from what I'm reading, she said that they were having separate meetings. So I don't think that it would have been a big issue. Like, I definitely think that, like I said, what she said was unprofessional, but I get it. I get it. It was inappropriate and unprofessional, but I get it. And basically, I got the biggest dick, meaning she's probably in the room full of men who are trying to bully and push her into doing something. And privilege still exists. Whether she's a mayor or not, that privilege still exists. And I really don't believe that if she had been a white man, if she was a white woman, it would have probably went that way. Maybe not as bad, but if that had been a white man, that would have never have happened. And she would have never had to have told them, I got the biggest dick. And that's basically, I'm in charge. Like, no matter what y'all say, I'm in charge. So that means that they are trying to push or force or circumvent something that she's already said no to. Like, she's already said what she said on the matter. You all are still trying to force it. And you're trying to do it in a way that that goes over my head, or you're just going to act like I'm not the mayor. So I get it.
So you think it's a lack of respect? That's what I'm gathering.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that they feel like and I think that, again, I think that if it was a white woman, it would have been similar, probably not as bad. But I think that because she's a Black woman, a Black gay woman, I don't know if her sexuality has anything to do with it, but definitely because she's a Black woman They don't feel a need to. I mean, and we're old as hell, so we've been in positions where we've seen. I've been a supervisor. I've been in charge, like, and I've had subordinates who felt that they knew more than me, and they did not necessarily have to listen to what I had to say. I swear, I had this guy one time. Every time me and my supervisor, who was also black, would say something, he would repeat the shit that we said, but he would put it in a different way and act as if he said something different and now it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
He was, but and he would do it all the time. And so I think sometimes people, they feel like, she's black, she's a woman, we don't have to respect her, or maybe she's not even qualified to tell us, or we'll figure this out a way around. It's just a lot of different things, but I definitely think it was a lack of respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
And they've shown a lack of respect for her, like, time and again. Like, she's not done everything right. But if you don't say shit about Rom and Daily especially, he sold Chicago off piece by piece. If you all could sit and be quiet for that shit and skin agreeing with him, she's not doing no worse a job than he is. Like, she's not doing nearly as much shit as he did.
But we gonna be. I mean, the thing with why we're so heavily scrutinized, because we scrutinized by our own people in addition to everybody else. So we gonna catch some flack off the top. But you wouldn't have caught, the late great Mayor Harold Washington coming out and making statements like that. He had more tact. He was more professional than that to come out, and regardless of what's going on, he was a true mayor. He was a true mayor, as far as I'm concerned. But
that's why they killed him, though. That's why they killed him.
My belief that he was killed, and and I still hold on to that. But when you get into a thing where it's like a fucking circus, where you got people that have been president that have no type of political anything, and then you got a mayor over here who's the shit. And this way I look at it, it's like, just on this extent, she's talking about suing these gangbangers and taking their assets. What the fuck world do you live in? What are you talking about? Sue them? What's wrong with you? Ain't nobody gonna take you seriously. You're so out of tune. See, I look at them like they're like, politicians are like business owners. Like, they're not really, to me, about people. They're about business, and I understand that. But you're so far in touch from what's really going on in Chicago that this is what you actually pursuing this.
But that's our fault, because those people are sitting in those positions because we put them in there.
We put them in there.
I mean, we put them in there, and we put them in there because we do, a lot of us do name recognition. We're not really into, and that's one thing that I think our platform, like, we need to start talking about people's policies, their politics, and because that really, like, the presidency is not as important as people think it is. Those local elections mean a lot more, and they mean a lot more because these are the people that sit in those seats that yay or nay the laws. They're the ones that push for certain things. And if what you're saying is that we have politicians in Chicago, our politicians, not in Washington, Chicago politicians, that are so out of touch that the things that they say don't even make sense, they're not even realistic, right, then we have to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, what are we doing? Because those people are not in those seats for any other reason outside that we're putting them in there. And if we're putting it in there, what are we doing to get them out of there? What are we doing to kind of look at their policies? And I'm talking about from the judges to the aldermen to the congressmen. We need to get people that actually know, like you said, if you're not in touch with the community, if you don't know what's really going on in the community, how are you effectively serving your community?
You're not.
You can't. And if we know this, as because what Black people especially forget is that we're constituents of those politicians.
Right.
We're their constituency. They answer to us. It's not the other way around. And we forget that. And sometimes we, because life and everything, people trying to make money and trying to survive, like, you really ain't worried about that. But that's shit that you really have to pay attention to, because that drives minimum wage, that drives the housing, that drives when our streets get fixed, that drives where our property taxes go, that drives a lot of things. And so I think our platform, just doing what we do, we should make it a point, like, to be looking at these people's policies and at least highlight some of the things that are important to us as a community and things that are detrimental to our community, and point out, hey, this politician is, we're voting for him, but this is a policy, and all these policies go against everything that we're looking for in the community. Or this person is not getting as many votes, or this person is doing this, and therefore everything that we need in the community, and we need to figure out how we can help build whatever kind of what kind of politician, what kind of community we're effectively we're to blame for that. Like, I think we're to blame for all of that shit. I just think we need to do better, and it's too much information, and it's too many. We have too many ways to get information for us not to know. Like, there's no reason for us not to know what people's policies are. And even if you look at just your community and your district, if we just look at our own districts and focus on that district and learn about those politicians and our district policy, like, that would be beneficial to us. But when we don't, we get the shit that we get. And even with, like, Lori, I think that, I think about my experiences, like, being in charge and how I'm being challenged as a Black woman. Like, even with you all as a Black man, you're going to be challenged, but men are not going to challenge you like they'll challenge a woman, if that makes any sense. Like, so even when you talk about Harold Washington, the challenge might be there, but it's not going to be as maybe not as disrespectful. It's not going to be as open. And with Lori, like, I kind of think that it, like, again, what she said was unprofessional, but in my mind, I'm thinking, how many times that she had to have the same conversation about different things with these same people? You know what I'm saying? Because she said some crazy stuff, but usually, like, even when she says crazy stuff, it comes from a place of somebody, like when she told Trump, fuck you, that came from a place of, you talking shit about Chicago. He kept Chicago in his mouth. And I think what she said was well deserved.
But I think with the Trump thing, much as I don't fuck with dude, he was right as far as Chicago and what she should have done. If she was in tune with the people, she probably should have took his hand in assistance to
absolutely
I say that because, you know what, like I say, when it comes to, now we know, like I said, we always had this conversation, basically, people gonna kill who's in their proximity. So white people killing white people, such and so forth. But in a case like this, whereas, this shit is rampant, you got all this shit going on, and those of us that lived in Black neighborhoods know who's doing this shit. And here it is, you got an instinct to try to get these motherfuckers off the streets so Black people could be safe. They're not coming up to white people and carjacking them. They're not shooting at a bunch of Mexicans or Japanese people. They doing this shit right here in their own backyard. If you got a chance, somebody's offering you assistance and you turn it down, keep Chicago name out your mouth. Meanwhile, motherfuckers is still, no, but what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. Motherfuckers is still getting carjacked. This one guy was in the car with his daughter. Black man, he was a bartender. He was a stand-up guy. He taking his daughter to school or some shit. Guy comes out in traffic, goes up to him, blows his brain out in front of his daughter. What kind of shit is this? And the dude that did it.
And now you have given them. Now you're so if he killed, I do. Murder me, and I already give course on anything. So just even they pay in still in good condition. So it's over there. Like my mother grew up there, people there, and so to nobody's now we somewhere else. And even the older people like this. So I'm gonna go somewhere where
I don't think it's. I mean, it is a conspiracy. It is, but they can't put shit out. You see what I mean?
Again, Jeffrey is prime because that's a straight shot to downtown. That's a straight shot, and you're by the lakefront. Like as a child, I've been able to ride my bike to the lakefront easy. I've been able to walk to the lakefront. Like you could walk to the lakefront. You could walk to Rainbow Park from where we grew up. When you talk about over there by the University of Chicago, you're right by 95th Street. And that's 95th, you know, that's a hub. That's you can get on the L, you can get on the buses, you can pretty much go, and the expressway is right there. So those are all prime places for you to, and those are big bungalows, old houses. And so those that's prime real estate. So there, like I live on 91st off of Cottage, and it's always like it's a fucking war zone over there. Like I've never I've never heard as many shoot like I've been at home sometimes and it sounded like somebody was literally like up under my window shooting. And because I live in between Cottage and King Drive, and it was always some kind of beef going on, always. And the block that I live on.
You froze up a little bit, Alicia. I can't hear you. It's probably take you a minute or so to get back in, but I can't hear you. You froze. Hello. Hello. Hello, hello. Yeah, you're frozen. Well, I guess I'll give a quick little what do you call that? It's the Uncommon Sense Show. Tonight we're talking about full of bricks or whatever, and niggas was taking the bricks off the trucks and throwing them in the businesses, blah, blah, blah. Hold nothing. We can't never keep nothing because we don't protect nothing. We don't protect our neighborhoods, and we damn sure don't.
Well, that's not true because those same people, like the kind of situation you were talking about, they also had they did stories on these people that they were hired to come to communities, and they actually had white people coming into these communities getting ready to destroy, and the people that were marching ran these folks off. Like I think I want to say I saw it on Facebook or something where these three white folks, they were getting ready to like bust the window or something, and the black people that were marching like cussed them out and like, you all are coming over here destroying shit, and the narrative is going to be we tore the shit up. Go to your own community and tear the shit up. Like, why are you over here? So I mean, the reality of like you can the media will show you what they want you to see, and it will give you the impression that we're not protecting our community. And definitely some of it is definitely our fucking fault, but some of it is just designed to, like, when you think about the shit that was tore up, like the Targets and the like Target, who's to say Target didn't put those people in there to tear the fuck up out of Target? You know what I'm saying? Sir, my kids don't call grown folk by their first name. As old as I am, I would not dare call my mother's friend Carol. It's Miss Carol.
Right.
It's Miss Carol because you still older than me. That's still, and I'm damn near 50 years old. They're not teaching the kids that, and they're not teaching the kids that because their mother, their grandparents, their great grandparents are still trying to relive some youth that's gone, and nobody wants to be a grandmother. Nobody wants to be a grandparent. Nobody wants to do this. Like that's part of parenting. That's part of your journey as a parent. When you have kids, your next phase of being a parent is helping your child parent your grandchild. That's wisdom, that's love, and we're not getting that. So now we have a community where you can't say shit to the kid. The kids ain't never wrong. You got kids arguing with adults, they cussing, ain't nobody scared to cuss. None of that. Right. And the parents, they don't chastise the child. They want to argue with an adult for even saying anything to their kid.
Yeah, because then now once you say something to because that's the kid that they produce. This is the value system or lack thereof that adult taught the child. That's what they go out in the world to be. When you made the example that, with the yes ma'am, no ma'am, that starts at home. You taught that to your children. And see, it was probably taught to you as well.
That's right.
It goes down the line. See, now the thing is that you got, that's why I always say, one side of me thinks it takes a mother and a father, but that's not true, because if you got a bad mother and a bad father, you fucked in the game. But I do believe it takes one good parent to raise a respectable adult, a responsible adult, an adult who can go out in society and be a productive citizen. It just takes one. Now, that could say, everybody may or may not had both parents, whatever. None of us have control over that. But every parent has the opportunity to see that their kid isn't a statistic by the values and everything that they instill in that kid. Now, anytime you got, man, look, I saw a video about a month ago, right here in, I was like Naperville or some shit. 11-year-old kid comes to arm rob a 57-year-old woman. I said, get the fuck out. I can find that video. I can pull it up for you. 11 years old. You know what color he was, right? You
one of us?
Okay. You know what color? It's always one of us. It's always us. But is this a 57-year-old white woman? And I ain't gonna lie, I felt fucked up about it because it's like, it's wrong on so many levels that I started thinking, you know, I ain't but 42. God willing, I'll make it to 57. Now just imagine you in your driveway with your daughter, minding your own business, and here comes some child waving a gun in your face.
That's true.
I know what it's like to be in that spot. That's something that you never get over. Nope. But see, it speaks volumes about the house that he came from. 11 years old, we do know an 11-year-old child. They don't know what the fuck they doing. You just got to telling me right now, your son is what, 24?
He'll be 24 on the 21st.
Mm-hmm. He'll be 24 and he don't know shit. Let alone what a kid half his age is out there trying to
on the streets with a gun.
In the burbs. So this is what I'm saying. We really failing. These fucking people are failing these kids to the point that they're gonna hurt somebody, and they're gonna continue hurting somebody until they get hurt or the people around them get hurt. This is a bad thing. This is a really bad thing that's going on. And see, when you can't tell a motherfucker shit, when you can't give them constructive criticism, then the problem just keeps going. And then the minute you try to check the kid, here come the mama. Oh, you don't tell nigga, this motherfucker had a gun. He's a
but you know what? But in that case, I wouldn't even say go talk to that parent because, like you said, like what's going on in that home that 11-year-old A has a gun, but B has a gun and decide they want to go rob somebody. That's not normal 11-year-old behavior. So what's going on in that home? And so to me, there would be no question. We need to go arrest whoever's in charge of this child because something or not, maybe not arrest, maybe you don't have the right to arrest, but we need to investigate that whole home and that whole situation because that's not normal behavior. And there's something going on in that house. They gave that child that idea that they think it's okay. Well, that's something that they should even be doing. And why is that child even at 11 years old? Like my kids, I still make my kids drop me their location. And they're grown. They don't even live with me. But if you're going somewhere, we're not from here, you're going out, you ain't got to tell me, you know, where y'all going, what y'all doing, drop me your location. So if something happened or I have to look for you, I know where to look for you. You know, I told my daughter just the other day, somebody from her school gave her a ride. Hey, don't get no car with nobody else without letting me see who they are. I need to see who they are, what kind of car they driving. If you don't want me to see them, let your brother see them because if something happened, I need to, and my daughter be 21 next month, but I still, you know, those are things that you need to, I need you to, you don't know what these people got on their mind. You don't know, they see you driving my car, they see you living somewhere nice. You don't know what they're going to do to you. And you a pretty girl too. They know you're not from here. Let me see them so I'll know if I need to come looking for you, who I'm looking for. Exactly. Let me know who they people are. Take them over to your cousins. My cousins are from Alabama. Take them over to your cousins. Your cousins might know their people, but somebody needs to know who you're with and where you're going. Don't just jump in cars with people. And that's at 21. So when you think about an 11-year-old child,
you shouldn't even be outside. Why they so far
away from home? Why they in the suburbs with a gun and you don't know nothing about them? Those those are a lot of questions. Right. That's a lot of questions.
Out of the question.
And it's neglectful. It's neglectful.
Very neglectful.
Abuse. That's abuse.
That's abuse.
So you could charge that 11-year-old, but those people that are responsible are the people that are in charge of that child. Because why is he out here like this? How is he out in the suburbs with a gun and ain't nobody looking for him? Like if y'all ain't called, if y'all ain't called the police and did no missing report, if y'all ain't in the car looking for them, then you all are more responsible than an 11-year-old. And we need to, we need to hold each other. And I know people, like y'all, like we all said, people don't want you to say shit about their kids or whatever. Right. But we need to start holding people accountable for their parenting. We need to hold people accountable for the way that they treat their kids. Because I hear people calling their kids motherfuckers and get your stupid ass over here. And so you're talking about at a young age. So you just think about 5 or 6, somebody's mom or their dad talking to them like that. How the hell you think they're gonna function at 11?
Right.
Yep.
Well, like what else do you think they're gonna be if they're being called motherfuckers and stupid asses and bitches at that age?
All they
That's
life.
what they know. Right, that's what they know. So at 11, I'm already a dumbass. I'm already a nigga. I'm already a motherfucker. So guess what? I'm gonna get out here and get it.
Yep.
I'm gonna get out here and get it because that's what you've instilled in me. And then I remember, I'm gonna shut up after this. I remember I was in the hospital with a patient, and she a real nice girl, young girl, and she had 2 kids, and she was a little overwhelmed. And sometimes again, when you're young, you don't know how to make kids sit down and kind of do something. But she had been there for like a couple of hours, and she started hollering at her kids. And so I went in there and I went and got her kids, and I think she had called one of the kids a bitch. And so I had got some snacks and some juice, and I had sat them down. But remember, she's young, and again, when you're young and nobody's teaching you, and I'm going to dare to say that somebody was calling her a bitch at that age. So she's not doing anything that she doesn't know.
Right.
So I took the kids and I put them in the room and I gave them some snacks and some juice, and I went back in the room, and she was like, I'm just really frustrated. I'm tired. I've been here for 3 hours, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I understand that. I said, you're a grown woman. I said, so if you're tired and frustrated, I said, these babies been here just as long and they don't have any food. There's nothing there. It wasn't kid friendly. I said, there's nothing for them to do. Right. I said, they're just as frustrated. I said, can I call your daughter a bitch? Well, no. I said, would you be upset if somebody, I beat their ass? I said, so if you would be somebody's ass for calling your child a bitch, I said, why are you in here talking to her like that? I said, because essentially what you're doing is making her think that it's okay for people to talk to her like that. And I said, it's absolutely not. And I said, if you as her mother, the person that's supposed to love her the most and love her unconditionally and love her beyond anybody else, if you're talking to her like that, how you think she gonna let everybody else talk to her? That's gonna be love to her. And and she was like, I never thought about it like she was, and again, she wasn't doing it because she was being mean. This is what was given to her, and she thought that because it was normal in her household with her, she's giving it to her children. And we need to start handling, like, it ain't gonna work on everybody, but we need to start making people accountable for fucking with these children and fucking over these kids, because it's not okay.
Well, it's not. I want to say this, and I want to hear from Will. I think it's, we do need to start making people accountable, but we need to hold ourselves accountable. Priority number 1. If everybody could get their shit in order, then we'd be all right. You see, because the thing is, when you're in the driver's seat, you can go whatever lane you want to go in. It's up to you. But see, when you got that passenger with it, they ain't got no choice but to go whatever way that you setting them on. So it ain't and I'm not a parent, but like I say, I always say I know what it's like to love somebody. I know what it's like to sacrifice for somebody, care about somebody else other than myself. And so, when you put this type of stuff out, this leaves lasting impressions on these kids, I mean, everything you do is they listen to what you say, but they see what you do. You see what I'm saying? On top of all this, and this is what helps to make them who they are. So, it's not a game. It's real. These kids, there's too much temptation out here for kids to get into dumb shit. That to me, a lot of this shit could have been prevented if they had the basics at home, like love. If they had love at home, they wouldn't be out in the streets looking for a gang to show them love, or looking for some old ass man, some pervert or some shit to show them love, because they would be getting it at home. But see, when a motherfucker don't love themselves, real shit. When a motherfucker then they're gonna go elsewhere. And adults do the same thing. If you're in a relationship with a motherfucker and you feel like you're not being loved, guess what? You're gonna get out of that relationship. It never changes. It's a basic need for every being.
Human being,
Every being, period. You're a human being. We need that shit. If we can't, and you're supposed to get it from the mother. But when the mothers don't love themselves because they got their fucking hangups. Oh, I'm, 1 minute they queen, goddamn it, diva superstar. The next minute they depressed. These motherfuckers is psycho. So they got this whole little issue going on, whether they try to compete with their girls or they trying to, I don't know what the fuck is going on with the sisters. I can't tell you.
I think it's honesty. I think it's mainly honesty. It's hard to admit that. That's why it's fake it till you make it. It's hard to admit that, hey, I have issues, I have problems. Nobody wakes up and want to admit to that. But to wake up and say you good, oh, everybody good to say that. Right. That's a cliche everybody willing to say. But to say that, hey, I'm down today, I think honesty have to start. And it's okay because we all have it. I have kids. Some days I don't feel like it. Right. Some days I have to fight through it. Some days I don't like going to work. I don't like dealing with, this is what I got to do. And I think honesty have to come out. I think people have to be honest and be, so other people could be honest. Instead of just like, hey, going with the motion. No, I'm great. I'm getting this bag. That's not the truth. Somebody got to be broke. We all can't be rich.
Straight up.
For real. That's life.
I'm laughing because it's true. Like, but I think that we become a society that we want to be Facebook famous.
Right.
We want to be Instagram popular. And we watch so much reality TV till we think that that's what everybody doing. Like you said, nobody wants to be normal. Nobody wants to be just regular. Nobody want to be just, nobody just wants to be a normal person. Everybody trying to be something that they ain't. And because they're doing that, it gives unrealistic expectations. And that's why you had these kids around here doing the shit that I remember my son, maybe a few months ago, he was telling me how frustrated he was because, he was like, I'm trying really hard, and I want to have a car like you, and I want to, I want to do the stuff you're doing. And I'm looking at him like, dude, I said, have you lost your fucking mind? I'm like, I'm 47 years old. Do you know the stuff that I sacrificed and worked for and the stuff that I went without? And, I'm like raising y'all. I said sometimes, and I mean, it sounds like an old cliche. I said, but sometimes I didn't eat because I didn't have enough. I didn't have enough just to feed us three. So I went without, or I ate the scraps so that y'all could eat. It's been times that I had to work like for at least 4 or 5 years. I worked 2 jobs because I was taking care of them too. Plus I had custody of my nieces and nephew and taking them to Jamaica and making sure y'all got iPhones and computers and the stuff that y'all not only wanted but needed. I said, I didn't have a brand new car, a really good car, luxury car, until I was in my 40s. I said, so let me tell you, I said at 20, like he was 20, 23, 22, 23. I'm like, you got your own apartment. You got your own car that you pay the car note on. Right. You got, my son talking about college and his future. And I'm like, nigga, at your age, I said at 19, I'm talking about getting high, partying, kicking it. I ain't talking about nothing that he talking about.
That's the truth, though. You gotta tell your kids that.
It's real talk. And I'm like, at your age, I'm like, you doing a lot better. And at 23, I had a child too. I'm like, you don't have no kids. You in school. You work. Like my son's a supervisor at Mercedes. You work. You pay your own bills. I help occasionally, but you really don't need my help. Y'all, my son and my daughter, they both work. They both in school. I'm like, dude, you're doing amazing. I said, you're doing more than what I was doing at 23. Like, I didn't have my own car at 23. I had my car in my mama's name at 23. You got a fucking 27. His car was newer than my Infiniti. Car newer than mine in your name that you're paying the bill for.
Dude, by yourself. That's a blessing, man. Yeah.
But see, he's not gonna never
he's skipping over the process. These kids do that a lot. They don't see the process.
Skipping over the process because when they watch TV and they see all the shit on
they don't see the internet, they don't see the little details. They don't see the
process. They think everybody popping out of Mercedes and Lambos at 20 years old. It's not realistic. It's not a realistic goal.
Yep.
And then another thing is well, yeah, it's the average person don't get to drive a Lamborghini. And you, like I say, like what Will said, it's a process to it. And the kids get caught up in they want stuff, they want stuff microwave, they want it fast, they want it quick. So that's a lot of kids go to the streets for that exact same reason. But let me tell you, it's just you know, those of us that's been fortunate to see, you know, 40 plus, you know, we know that it's a process to this shit. This shit didn't happen overnight. 20 years ago, shit, I wouldn't have been able to get no house. You know what I'm saying? Or none of that. It's a process to it. I mean, you know, and even when I was a kid, I was a little impatient, like every other kid. But I just kept working and, you know, and going through the process to be able to do a little better than what I did last time. And the kids today most likely are going to have to do the same thing, because this is the way it is. I mean, most of us ain't millionaires. Most of us don't see millions. Okay, so you gotta work to get what you gotta get. You gotta get your priorities together, stack your money, whatever you gotta do in order to get to that. But you ain't gonna just pop out at 21 driving a Lambo. It ain't gonna happen like that. So don't even, you know what? It's great to shoot for that at some point in your life, you know, but when you have other things on the table, like put like this, if you're driving a Lambo and you stay in your mom's house, something the fuck wrong with you.
That part.
For real.
That part.
That is so, I don't fit to say that. Like the hell?
Because you know what? That Lambo ain't shit. You can't fucking sleep in that Lambo. You know what I'm saying? You can't do none of that.
Yeah, two motherfuckers can't fit in there.
Hell no. You got tunnel vision. You don't see the big picture. Once you get a little older and you're out in the real world, which means from up underneath mom and pop's roof, when you out in the real world and you paying real bills and every bill that come in the mail got your name on it.
Your name on that for real.
How long you talk about a Lambo then? That's when reality starts to set in that, hey man, damn, I gotta pay the rent. I gotta pay this light bill. I got the phone bill. Oh man, ain't no groceries in here. I gotta take this last little, I gotta get gas. Gas went up. All these other things that you're responsible for. So ain't no Lambo the last thing on your fucking mind. Because while you sitting over here thinking about Lambo, motherfucking ComEd want $50, $60, $70. You gotta pay that.
You living? Where the hell you living in ComEd? Want that living?
I'm just saying.
Where you live? I need to come where you are.
50, 60. He should say $100. That shit went up too.
Right, easy.
In the summertime, because you know you ain't
right. Where you at? Because I need to come to where you are. Because I got a $230 light bill here now, and I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I've been gone for a week and a half. So let me come where you are.
How the hell is your life?
You better unplug everything. That's what they say.
I ain't been here in a week and a half. Shit plugged up with my TV and my fax machine.
Somebody burned your heat or some shit. You left your heat on.
The heat ain't on.
What the hell is your life so?
That's why I'm saying, wherever you getting this $50, $60 from, I want to come where you at, because I don't understand what's going on over here.
That was like 20 years ago.
I opened up my light bill. I was like, what in the fuck? I'm like, I ain't even been here. Like, what's going on? Like, can't nobody tell me what's going on.
He about to call ComEd, man. I don't know what you got.
I may be hit.
You been in my house?
Right. Y'all owe me some heat or something. Y'all owe me something.
And you down south. You shouldn't even need no damn heat.
Man, it's been 80, like it's cool today, but it's been like 80 degrees. Again, no air. And I ain't been here. I haven't been here. So I don't know. I don't know. It's probably a surcharge or some shit they chalking up on your
right.
But you know they'll get you real good with the surcharge too.
Oh yeah, they hit you up something.
Yeah.
Everything going up. We was just talking about that. But see, that's what I'm saying. My whole point is when you in the real world and you got real bills and real responsibility, you ain't got time for the silly shit. It's either you pay this or your shit is sitting out on the street.
But let me ask you a question. Do you all believe that we are the silly shit? Because like even when we talk about our kids being unrealistic, like I talk to my kids about, and this is just me, I talk to them about owning land, like owning property, being entrepreneurs, being good people. Like when my kids decided they were going to go to college and they decided their majors, the one thing that I told them was that whatever you decide to do, make sure that you bring that stuff back into their community and you do something for free. Like, whatever, because my son's he wants to be a pediatrician. So I said, that's good. I said, but you make sure you go into these communities where people may not be necessarily able to afford to see a pediatrician, and you give back and you do it for free. Because these are things that we owe our community these things, and we need to get educated and go back into our communities and do that. I mean, like that for me, that's a big passion for me. It's a big thing for me, for us, especially the Black people that are educated, that have tools and they have skills that you may not you can only get in the hospital, or you can't, they're not readily available in our communities. Like, we have a lot of sick people in our communities. Like, I do herbs and stuff like that. It's important that I go back into my community. Like, I make my own elderberry syrup. I make sea moss pills, and I do it for free. Like, I give people stuff for free, because to me, it's important that we go back to nature, and we cultivate and we help each other get healthy. Like, that's just important to me. So even when we talk about, like Kennard was saying about our kids, like, I think part of the problem is we always talking about, our generation, we talking about chasing a fucking bag. That's what we talk about. Right. And that's what's important. Like, we don't even tell, like, to me, I don't like, being poor ain't nothing, ain't about nothing. And I don't advocate poor. I don't advocate poverty. Right. But it's more important for me, for my children and my nieces and nephews to be good people, to give back, to have a spirit of, like, care and concern for their people, to have the spirit of, like, wanting to volunteer and wanting to help, to have that kind of heart. I ain't never got to drive no Lamborghini, because to me, you helping people and you giving back and you living and you being a good person, to me, that's when you winning, and everything else will come. But you getting a Lamborghini and being a shitty person, I would be so ashamed. Like, I don't care if you could buy me everything in the world. If you turn out to be a shitty person, I have failed you as a parent. If that's what you hold true to you, because money, people lose money all the time. People lose houses, Lamborghini. Like, you can lose all the shit in the world.
People gain and lose. That's right. Part of it.
But if that's how you define yourself, that's why. If you
character, your characteristics.
Right. But people hold that shit so close to them that when they lose it, they kill themselves, because that's your identity. That's what you held close to you. And to me, that's a problem, because, man, all this shit gonna go. The government is gonna say that the money that we got in that bank, it ain't gonna mean shit in a little while. It ain't gonna mean nothing. So what else you got?
I totally agree with you on that.
Like I said, we are idolaters. Black people, money is God to us. And that's why, motherfuckers go on Facebook fucking 6, 7 in the morning, chasing the bag, chasing the paper, y'all, off to the paper, and all this silly ass shit. And see, that's,
and they can't count. Niggas can't count. That's what irritates me the fuck out, man.
They can't count, Will.
No, they can't count. That's why they chasing a bag. They wouldn't even know how to count, man. They don't. Some people don't know how to count.
But it just speaks, to me, it says a lot about a motherfucker value system. If you do anything for money, then, to me, like, that says a lot about your morals, to me. I mean, we all need to survive. That's the way the system is set up. Even if you a fucking sharecropper, you're still gonna need money. You're gonna need materials. You're gonna need this, that, and the third. I get that. But if it's just like a fucking, see, and the thing
way of life,
right? If it's a way of life for you and you pass it on to these kids, then these kids feel like they'll do anything for money. That's where your carjacking comes in. You're selling dope, your home invasions, and all this other shit's from 11-year-old kids. That's what put that 11-year-old kid out there, as far as I'm concerned, to go out there and carjack a 57-year-old woman. That's what put him out there. It's because that's what he was taught. You see what I'm saying? In addition to the fact that, another issue that we have is that a lot of these young mothers now, they will sit up and they will put the responsibility, a man's responsibility, on a boy. And every man knows you don't send a boy to do a man's job. But because she not with the nigga who she had the kid with. So she calls the son the man of the house. He can barely wipe his foot.
Oh, that's control. That's manipulation. I call it emotional rape. That's grooming.
Right.
And that's what because a lot of times in life it's structure. No matter where you go. And some people just don't want to deal with structure. Right. And part of structure comes with negotiating, and people, that trigger word of submission, we all have to submit to something.
That's up.
And submission is negotiating. That's all it is. You go to work, if you own your own business, you got to negotiate with someone. Yep. That means you have to submit something of you don't like to obtain something that another person have. Mm-hmm. If you can't do that basic thing, how are you functioning in life?
You can't.
You know how we grew up. I don't know. I grew up like this. Our neighbor borrowed some cup of sugar. Well, yeah, we got 3 eggs. That's negotiating. That's submitting. Hey, we got 3 eggs over here. We give you this, you give us that. Nowadays, it's take. Give me this, give me that, give me this. Me. I. That never works. That never works.
But I also think we have to also acknowledge that these same women have no idea. Like one thing that I was clear about, like when I got a divorce, I was very adamant about making sure that, although I had sole custody of my kids, making sure that their father played a part in their life. So we never went by the divorce. Like, and he was still in the military at the time. So I would have him a year, and then he would get him a year until they got old enough to say they didn't want to do that anymore. And that lasted for quite some time. So, I was in Chicago, but he would be in Kentucky, he would be in Texas or whatever. But that year that he had him. And what we have been taught is that I don't need a man for anything, right? Yeah. You can raise a child by yourself, and you really can. But you have to understand, like what I understood, and what was like I hate, and I was just telling my son this maybe a month ago. He asked me, he said, "I know you can't stand Daddy, but why did you have such a good relationship with him?" And I told my son this, and I meant this from the bottom of my heart. I said, "My feelings don't mean shit. When I made children, I brought y'all into that world. You all became the most important thing to me. So whatever I felt about your father, that was your father. And I understood that the relationship that you had as a young man with your father, and what your sister did as a young woman with your father, those things are important, and those are going to form who and what you all are.
More
And
important,
it's not my job, and it is unfair for me to keep that away from you. If I do that because I'm in my feelings, I'm doing you a disservice, and I would never want to harm you. So how I love you more than I love myself, and I love you more than I care about how I felt about him." And I didn't, and even like with us, trying to raise them, I didn't always agree with the shit he did. But one thing that I always told myself, and my friend told me this too, and I kept it with me. He was like, "You all don't have to agree on how to raise the kids when he has them. You know that he loves them, and you know he's not going to let anybody hurt them, and you know he's not going to let anything happen to him. And so even when you don't agree with what he's doing, you have to know that anything he's doing, he's going to protect them, and he's going to love them." And that's the realest thing that anybody could have ever told me. And those that thought, and the way that I felt about my kids, and how important I thought that it was for them to be with him, kept me in a position that even now I tell my kids, "Have you called your father? Y'all need to go see your father." I don't give a damn how I feel about him, but he has always been a part of their life. And those are things that are important. A woman can't raise a man to be a man. I can raise my son to be an ideal of a man that I want. Right. But what a man shit is, and again, like I said, I had brothers, uncles, cousins, daddies, and everything else in my kid's life too. Those things are important, because I can't teach my son how to be a man no more than my ex-husband could have taught my daughter how to be a woman. We can give what we think that should be, or the ideal, but the reality of it is a man shit is man shit, and I can't teach that. I can't. Right. And we have to stop saying that we can do any and everything, because the reality of it is we're fucking up these young boys by thinking that shit. Because we're making them our man. They're our boyfriends.
That's nasty.
They're our boyfriends.
That's pedophilish. Let's be honest with that.
I mean, but it's not sexual. It has nothing.
I understand that.
It's
but
abusive,
it's
because you're making your child responsible for not only your household, but your fucking emotions. It's abuse. Because now he feels like I'm the male of your house, and now I have to be responsible not only to make sure that you're okay. Why are you crying? Why are you upset? Why are you this? And as a child, I should not have to worry. That's not a burden for me. And we've placed these burdens, even the girls, we've placed these burdens on these kids as if it's their responsibility to maintain us. And it's bullshit.
Right. That is so much bullshit. I can't stand it.
It's a whole thing. It's very selfish on the part, and to rob a kid of their childhood. That's something they're never going to be able to get back. When the kids grow up too fast, it never really turns out well, and the kids are putting their lives at stake.
But don't you think that behavior even continues over into adulthood? You'll see young men cater to their moms like that, even as when they're adults, they're still being emotionally held hostage by that mother.
That's grooming. That's manipulation.
They call them mamas
at the highest
that's not true. That's not true. My bad. We call them mama's boys, and that's a falsehood.
That's different. That's totally different. That's totally different. That's like Alicia's son making sure our bags, but still though, but that's totally different
he's not emotionally responsible for shit.
Exactly.
But he loves his mother. He
loves his mom, and that's totally different. That's totally different. Making sure you good. That's totally different.
I think that's not an term of endearment. I don't like that term at all.
What?
Like I said, well, for one, I'm not a mother. That's number one. But two, it's just.
It's insulting. It's an insult.
I think it is an insult.
Okay. It's an insult.
We're on the same page, because there's nothing wrong with a son loving his mother and having a good relationship with his mother, a good rapport with his mother. There's nothing wrong with a son willing to protect his mother. He's supposed to. Just like you protect all the women in your family. I do it. Like, I don't fuck with my sister, but I ain't gonna stand there and let somebody come and fuck with my sister. Mm-hmm. Even though we not on terms like that, but I will not stand by and know that somebody is trying to hurt my sister, and I'm just gonna act like, oh, well, you on your own. No. That's just a natural instinct of men. But that mama's boy shit, I don't agree with it. And that's what happens when that's what you get called when you cool with your mom, when you have a good relationship with your mom. Like I do. Me and my mother, we text every morning.
Yeah, me and mine do too. I text her, see how she doing.
We had that bond. That's something that
And I agree with you. I'm not a mama's boy.
But you also, I think that when y'all talk about that, people that say that usually have dysfunctional relationships with their family, and so they use that as and that's why I say it's an insult. Like, it's nothing wrong with loving your mother. Like, my son definitely, if by all rights, people call him a mother's boy, but they only call him that because they jealous what he has. They don't have
jealous. They're just jealousy.
Like, there's nothing that my son can tell me, or nothing that my daughter can tell me that will make me not love them. Like, I'm their mother. But when people have dysfunctional relationships with their parents, they don't understand. It's foreign to them. So it's weird. You're too close to your mom. I talk to my son. My son they live right next door to me. Like, I can walk out of my apartment and go right next door to theirs. I see them every day. My son comes over here, empty the garbage. He'll come over here and hug and kiss me because he loves his mother. I've been good to him. He loves me because I've earned that love from him. Right. But when you don't have that, when you don't have when you have a dysfunctional relationship with your parents, what you and Will do is foreign. It's weird because they don't know what that looks like to them. They know chaos and confusion.
This is what it is, and like I said, I think we grew up to be very stand-up guys, and
I text my mom all the time.
Right, you know what I'm saying? I text my mother every morning, and I give her a good.
I tell her, hook me up with that cheesecake she be making. Get the rest of them. Talking about my syphilis.
But that's also that's your duty. That's your job. Like, that you owe your mother that.
Well, I don't look at it like I owe my mother anything.
I don't look at it like I owe.
Let me tell you why I say that. As much as and I talk to my mother damn near every day. As much as my mother has sacrificed for me, as much as shit as my mom has done for me, the least I can do is call her and say, "Are you okay?" Right. And that's what I mean by owe her. It's your job. Your mother has carried you, has nurtured you, have loved you, have given you the best part of her, has suffered and struggled. At the very least you can do for her is, "Hey, Mom, you okay? And say, good morning, Mama. I love you. How you doing? Is there anything I can do for you?" Because that's the woman that brought you here, and that's the woman that's gonna love you no matter what. You owe her that.
True. I mean, I don't know. Okay, and by the way, it is Women's History Month. I just found that shit out today.
Oh, nigga,
I never heard of that. I never heard of that.
Kind of shit.
But it's all
I never heard of it.
Hey, we had less than a minute, so it's gonna cut out. I'm gonna send y'all the link. I don't know what's up with John or Mika or whatever, but we rocking and rolling. We got a good topic tonight, and we doing our thing like we always do. So whenever it just cut. I'll send y'all the link. We're gonna do the thing again, but we want to lead off. And Will, we want to delve back into the Lori Lightfoot thing because I ain't heard your take on her shit. So I'm gonna pull the video up and we're gonna break this shit down. Peace.
More now?
Huh?
She a Mo?